Well, thank you for getting together, and
Yes, sir.
let me start by thanking you for your service in the U.S. military. Maybe you can talk a little bit about your prior service. I also know you come from a military family.
I do, yes, sir. So I do come up from a military family, and I ultimately made a decision to join the military. I attended the United States Military Academy at West Point. I was commissioned as an infantry officer. Upon my commission, I immediately deployed to combat Iraq the first time, Afghanistan, and many. So in my 25-year career, I have 12 combat deployments to places all over the world: Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, the like. And 2008, I decided that I wanted to try out and join Special Forces. So I went to selection at Fort Bragg, and I became a Green Beret. So the remaining of my career, I was a U.S. Army Green Beret, and
So you've seen a lot of combat.
seen a lot of combat, sir.
And you mentioned a couple places, Afghanistan, where else?
Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Tajikistan. I was also deployed to Operation Enduring Freedom in Southeast Asia and the Philippines and fighting the Moro Islamic Liberation Front.
Yeah.
So I was in the Philippines, also Thailand, Malaysia, Cambodia, and then other Central Asian countries, small stint in Kazakhstan. And
And then you signed up for this effort that they were saying was going to help feed people in Gaza. What made you decide you wanted to try to do that?
Sir, I had been familiar with the situation in Gaza. I had never been deployed to Israel or anything in nature that was involved in it, but reading the news and keeping up with what's going on. And, the motto of Special Forces is De Oppresso Liber, to free the oppressed. So that motto isn't something that I just sit to the side when I got out of the Army. It's something that I live by. And so I felt that, people that are starving, that need food, that are hungry, that are dying, that sounds like oppression to me. And I wanted to be a part of it.
Yeah. And so you became engaged in that, and then based on what you saw, you decided to come forward and speak out. So
Yes, sir.
why are you speaking out now?
So on the 14th of June, I terminated my contract. I made my reasons explicitly clear. I'm coming out now because I feel that it's important that the American people know from a trusted and reliable source, from someone that was there. I spent days on every site of the secure distribution sites in Gaza that are run by the GHF, all 4 sites. I spent days on end at all 4 of those sites. I spent days on end in an armored vehicle doing the delivery of aid. And the American people need to know what the United States is involved in Gaza. We're not bystanders. We are a part of it. U.S. tax dollars are going towards this effort. Americans are on the ground, armed, in Gaza, engaging with Palestinians and involved in things that America needs to know about.
What specifically do people need to know is happening right now as a result of the GHF operation?
The American people need to be aware that the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation method of aid distribution was designed, by design, is inherently dangerous. It lures Palestinians into active war zones throughout Gaza to get food that they need. Under the UN method, there were 400 sites. Now there's only 4. All 4 of those sites are co-located with Israeli positions in active combat zones. That's not humanitarian. By design, it is inherently dangerous. By execution, it is failing. It failed to launch. It hasn't achieved success. It is not achieving success now. It has failed, it is failing, and it will not succeed because it's not run by people that know anything about humanitarian assistance, humanitarian aid, or this type of work. It would be if someone asked me to do brain surgery. I'm educated, but I can't do that.
Absolutely, and we've seen and heard about these stories of very hungry, starving Palestinians having to crowd around toward these 4 centers to get food,
Yes, sir.
and in the process have been subject to fire, being shot
Yes.
by IDF soldiers and others. Have you witnessed any of that?
I have witnessed it on all 4 locations with my own eyes. I have not only bear witness to it, touched it, felt it, heard it there on the ground right in front of me. I also captured a lot of it on video and on photos, and the proof is undeniable. And the proof is not videos and pictures alone. The proof is also witness, which is me, and I know what I saw. I'm a man of integrity. I've served my country, and I've proven that, and I can be trusted. So what I saw on numerous occasions are the Israeli Defense Forces firing into the crowds of the Palestinians, firing over their head, firing at their feet, firing into the crowd. Not just with rifles or machine guns, but tanks, tank rounds, artillery, mortars, missiles. Not because they were combatants or because they were hostile or because they were Hamas, but simply as a means to control the crowd. Why I say that the process under GHF is inherently dangerous is because those crowds are the size that the crowds are because of the process of the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation and how we're delivering aid. There's only 4 sites.
Yeah. Compared to 400.
Compared to 400. Mm-hmm. More importantly is that no one in Gaza City, and Jabalia, where right now I think it is, everybody can agree is the most vulnerable population going into starvation and famine. There are no distribution sites from GHF north of the Netzarim corridor at all. They're all south of the Netzarim corridor. No one from Gaza City or north of the Netzarim corridor can go south of the Netzarim corridor. So the entire vulnerable population that the world has pulled the alarm on, that is in the time of crisis and on the verge of famine, can't get to any of the aid. Can't even get to it. And we're not taking it to them. So in order to reach each of these sites, throughout all of the rest of Gaza, central to South Gaza, there are only 4 sites, and 3 of them are all the way in the south, located right in the middle of the IDF's Operation Gideon's Chariots, which is an offensive operation. Not security, not defense, but an offensive war that these civilians have to walk through, and they get shot at. They get shot at by the IDF, and unfortunately, they get shot at by American contractors on the ground.
And you've witnessed this directly.
I have witnessed it. I would, one of the photos that I took, sir, was this photo here. This young boy, his name is Amir. Mm-hmm. I know that because he and I talked. I took this photo. This is on, this hurts, I get a little emotional with this because this is on Secure Distribution Site 1 on the 27th of May. The second day we had done distribution. Mm-hmm. At this point, the second in charge of the entire contract resigned in protest based on how distribution went on the 26th of May on day 1. He notified the leadership. He said, I can't be a part of this anymore. We continued. This young man on this site, as you can see, he doesn't have a box. He's carrying things that he found on the ground. Because on the sites, it became a free-for-all. It became a survival of the fittest. The Gaza Olympics. Yeah. Hunger Games. Dystopian to the 10th degree. It's horrible. There was no box for this young man, so he picked up some things that he found on the ground, and he was so thankful for even that, and he walked up to me, and he extended his hand, and I beckoned for him to come forward, and he grabbed my hand, and he kissed my hand, and he said, Shukran, Shukran. And he was sincere. He was crying. He walked 8 kilometers to get there. No shoes.
Yep.
Probably hasn't eaten in days. So for anybody that says that the people of Gaza are not starving, I beg to differ. I've seen different. This young man, then he held my hand and he kissed it, and I kneeled down to look at him in the face so I can let him know that, people care. You're not alone. People care. And he set down his bags and he put his hands on my face and he kissed me. And he looked at me and he said, "Shukran." And I was like, "You're welcome." And he says, "Thank you." And he picked up his bags and he went back to join this group. And this was the last remaining group of people on the site that were picking up remnants of aid. And he left through the exit of site number 1. The exit of site number 1 goes north to the Marag corridor, which is a combat area, a fighting area.
Yeah.
The IDF opened up with machine gun fire into the crowd to get them to leave faster, to get them to hurry. Shooting at their feet, shooting over their heads, shooting into the berm. There's video of this. It's been verified. That's the first time I had experienced such use of force against, so I didn't know what was going on because he had walked through the berm and I heard the shooting. So I ran up to the berm to look and there were dead Palestinians. He was one of them.
Oh my God.
So
The boy who just kissed you.
who said thank you?
Yeah.
Who wasn't a threat. The people that we promised that we're going to bring food to, that we're going to feed. Not only are we not feeding them adequately, we're not providing enough. Right now, the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation has achieved 82 million meals delivered into Gaza. They've been doing that over as of today, 60 days of distribution. So at the rate of what the UN was doing, they are operating at a performance rate of 3%. 3%.
Compared to what was
Not 3% below,
delivered to the other. Yeah.
3%, period. If the amount of aid that the UN was delivering, 500 to 600 trucks a day, let's just say 500 trucks a day is the mark, UG Solutions, SRS, GHF are delivering 18 trucks a day on average. We're starving people.
At just 4 sites.
At just 4 sites. And in order to get to it, the people getting to it have to endure gunfire, have to endure an 8 to 12 kilometer walk one way to get there.
Yeah.
And then after they receive aid from the site, they can't go back home. Because once you're west of the Magan-Oz corridor or north of the Marag corridor between the coastal corridor, you can't leave. So all of these people, if you're in Khan Yunis and you head south to get aid, because site number 4 is not open that day, which is common. They're not all open. So on any given day, there's only 1 or 2 open. So if they can't get aid at site 4 and they want to go down south to get site 1, they then are stuck down there. They're displaced. They can't go home. They go to the Nasser camp or they go to the Mawasi refugee camp.
Yeah.
They can't go home. So the United States, not just UG Solutions, not just Safe Reach Solutions, not just the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, the United States of America is complicit in setting mouse traps with cheese of the food is the bait to bring them down and then displace them from the north.
So this is, in your view, a big part of the displacement strategy that's going on right now.
It is the displacement strategy.
Yeah.
It is how it's being done. Now, did GHF or SRS or UG Solutions sign up to do that? I don't believe so. But even after the first day of being there, you don't have to be Clausewitz to figure out that if we're supposed to be distributing humanitarian aid, why aren't we building aid sites where the need is? If everybody's north, why are we building sites in the south? How do they get here? Oh, well, they walk. Oh, so they displace from where they live to come here to get food. And do they get to go back? No. So we're displacing people. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
And we're a part of it. The United States government, through its $30 million to the State Department, to GHF, the American taxpayer, Americans that are on the ground with guns, we are complicit in the displacement of a population of people. Innocent, starving people who we say, we're here to feed you. Come and get some food. And we use it as bait. And most of them don't survive.
Yeah, it's been horrible reading about what's happening. I see you have some other things here, a video. Is there anything else you want to?
Just
Right
so
now.
just a couple
Yeah.
things here I wanted to show you. But
Yeah.
so this young boy, I talked to him. So
Yeah.
this is your typical Palestinian when they reach the site, how thankful they are.
Yeah.
They're not a threat.
Yeah.
This gentleman here gave me the peace sign, and then he kissed at me and he said thank you. This young boy right here, as I told you, this young boy on site number 2, this young boy is picking up noodles with his bare hands because there were no boxes of aid. So with his right hand, he's picking up noodles that he's then shifting out to put in his backpack because that's all he got. His face is red and flushed because he got pepper sprayed in the face by a UG contractor.
You witnessed that?
Witnessed it, saw it. That's why I took the picture.
Yeah.
This young girl, happy to be there. Some of us with our own money purchased cookies for the kids because the boxes just have rice, flour, fava beans, nothing that you can actually eat until you cook it.
Yeah.
So we bought cookies for the kids. This girl has a package of cookies. These packages are a pack of packages, and she took the whole thing for me, and I was like, okay. She took it and then opened it and was handing it out to other children. These are the Palestinians. These are the people of Gaza. This isn't Hamas. This isn't a bad guy. This could be my daughter.
Yeah.
These
Or mine.
These aren't the criminals.
Yeah.
This man here picking up a bag of flour, I took this photo. He's thanking me. Not a threat. This young girl here, this is at site number 4, distribution site 4.
Yeah.
This is who we're starving. These people. Her.
Yeah.
That could be my neighbor.
Yeah.
This young boy right here, I mean, he even looks like my son. This could be my son. Thankful, happy. And this young boy didn't get any aid because by the time he got there, everything was gone. He was happy just for the fact, the idea that we were there to help. This is who we're starving. This is who's dying. This young boy, this is on site number 1, early in the morning. Happy to be there. He got one box. Him and his family got a box. Just happy. Never at any time on all 4 distribution sites, at distributions through morning, afternoon, night, throughout the night, during the day, did I ever witness a threat, hostility, even anything close to hostility, ever, in the whole group.
Yeah.
Another picture of a young boy just thankful.
So absolutely no reason for anybody to be shooting at them.
No reason. This woman here, this is site 1. She was hit in the head with a piece of shrapnel from a stun grenade that was thrown by a UG Solutions contractor. It hit her in the head and knocked her unconscious. Before she left that site, I was hit with it also.
You were hit.
With a piece of the stun grenade. I got stitches in my arm from it. I was wounded from it. And the gentleman that helped me up off the ground was a Palestinian man, the man that's here covering his face because the stun grenades have tear gas in them. So when they explode, not only do they fire these pellets, they also expend tear gas. And the gentleman helped me up, and then he went here to help the woman in black, help the woman in red onto the cart. I went up to thank him. I said, thank you. And I placed my hand on her, motionless, lifeless. Unfortunately, throughout my life in my military career in war, I have touched and been next to a lot of dead people.
Yeah.
I would raise my right hand in a court of law and attest to the fact that she was dead. Not from the IDF, not from starvation, not from trampling because Hamas incited a stampede. We killed her. That's not the American way. This man here, this was on site number 1. Again, early in the morning. He was on the ground picking up noodles. A UG contractor yelled at him and said, get out of here. He doesn't speak English. We don't speak Arabic. We only had 1 translator per site for thousands of people. So that's how we spent money. We spent money on a lot of guns and 1 translator. This man was then sprayed in the face with pepper spray, and he was immobilized. This young man, this worker here is a local Palestinian worker who was dumping water on his face. And that wasn't done by the IDF. That wasn't done by Hamas. That was done by an American contractor who is there in a very complex and complicated environment trying to do the best he or she can with no rules of engagement, no standard operating procedures, no escalation of force procedures. None of this has been provided. And all of us, sir, are in Gaza. We are in Israel on a tourist visa.
Unbelievable.
We are in the country of Israel, in Gaza, carrying
On a
weapons
tourist visa.
and doing this,
On a tourist visa.
and doing this, and doing this, and we are there on a tourist visa. If my grandmother wanted to go visit Jerusalem, she would go into Israel on the same way that I did as a contractor with a gun.
Unbelievable. So who is like giving the orders for all the GHF operations?
Great question, sir. I was told very explicitly, directly to my face, that our client is the IDF.
Your client is the IDF.
Our client is the IDF. And this came out in a discussion once where I was in the control room. I was on I was on control room duty that day. We had shifted responsibilities on a rotational base. So I was in there that day with the radio observing site number 2 distribution. A Palestinian man had picked up some children to let them step on his shoulders to get onto a berm because they were being crushed in the crowd. Site 2 is very small, smallest of all 4 sites. And these children are being crushed, and he picked them up there and put them up on the berm. And the Israeli Defense Forces liaison officer in the main control center with us comes up to the screen that I'm watching, and he says, "Tell your men to get them down." I was like, "We got this under control." I was like, "I know they know what they're doing. No, they're children. Let's calm down.
Mm-hmm.
Get them down now, or I will." Well, there's no IDF on the site, so I didn't take it as much more than just being, bombastic and like, okay, like, hey, we got this. He leaves and goes to his desk in the operations center, and he gets on the radio and he speaks something on the radio. It was in Hebrew. I don't speak Hebrew. One of the contractors that was there was American that did speak Hebrew, and he notifies me. He said, "Hey, he just told the snipers at the IDF position," because the site number 2 is co-located with an Israeli base.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "He just told the snipers to take these kids out." I was like, "On the radio?" He's like, "Yeah." This lieutenant colonel then comes back up and he says, "Get them down." And I look at him and I say, "Did you just call on the radio and tell your men to shoot them?" And he said, "I'm going to take care of this if you don't." I said, "You are not going to shoot. You are not going to shoot children. You're also not going to shoot because if your men miss, you're going to hit others. You're not going to shoot." Thank God we didn't come to the conclusion of figuring out whether he would or not, because the children jumped down and ran off of the site. They didn't want to be there. They were unarmed. They didn't have shoes. One wasn't even wearing a shirt. They were starving. The chief operations officer for Safe Reach Solutions, our higher headquarters, so to speak, in the contract, beckoned me outside with him, and he looked at me in the face and he said, "Never say no to the client." And I asked him, I was like, "I didn't know the client was in there. Who's here? Did Johnny Moore come to visit?"
Right.
And he said, "No, the IDF." I was like, "The IDF are our client?" He said, "Yes, we work for them." A light bulb went off in my head, because up until that point, every day at 11 o'clock, we'd have an operations meeting where the IDF, not COGAT, not the UN, not GHF, the IDF would give us very clear and explicit instructions. This is the site you will deliver to. This is how much aid you will deliver. This is how you will deliver it. This is the time you will deliver it. This is how many trucks will go in. They gave us explicit, and we took our marching orders from them. Up until that point, I just thought maybe that was just a process. But then I realized that, according to Safe Reach Solutions, the prime contract, we work for the IDF. Inherently, a combatant, a belligerent in a war. Is Israel at war with Hamas? Absolutely. Are they combatants? Absolutely. Humanitarian aid should not be distributed through a humanitarian assistance mechanism that is controlled by a combatant in a war. It is inherently inhumane. It is inherently un-American. And if Americans knew that, I don't think they'd put up with it.
I think you're right. We talked earlier about how you've been involved in many combat situations on behalf of the United States. Have you ever seen a situation like you witnessed here in Gaza?
In 25 years of serving in the Army, sir, to include the fight against ISIS, who what I would say is a pretty barbaric enemy, never in 25 years have I witnessed or been a part of what I saw in Gaza. The death, the destruction, the injustice, the more so the use of escalation of force against an unarmed population of civilians. None of them were armed. They're starving. They're unarmed. They're women. They're children. They're old men. They're handicapped. They're human beings. Never in my entire military career and everywhere I've been, in situations from low intensity to high intensity, have I ever witnessed the barbaric use of force against an unarmed civilian population. Ever. And I hope I never witness something like that again.
Well, I think your testimony is going to be important to make sure that the American people know what's happening.
Yes, sir.
Know how their tax dollars are being used. And I want to again thank you for your service in the U.S. military.
Yes, sir.
That requires bravery. It also requires courage to come out and talk about something you're witnessing here. Is there anything else that you want to say?
I appreciate your time, sir. I thank you for your service to our country. And as you said, that's my objective in this, is to inform the American people of what the truth is.
Yeah.
I have no agenda in this. I'm not in this for some greater cause. I recently retired from the military, very happy being a stay-at-home dad and making breakfast for my family and taking my son to a school and being a dad. I have no aims or objective in this other than, one, that the American people know the truth. Two, I swore an oath to this country, and that oath didn't get hung up with my uniform on the 1st of March. The Constitution is founded in values. This is not in line with American values, and Americans need to know that, sir.
They do.